Hey, Shalom, Shalom. It's not mine with the DC Camp. Great Millstone, back for another video. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakah Akwadash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders, all right, who deserve double honors, therefore rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways pushing the truth across the four corners of this earth, while time permits us to do so, because it is growing short indeed. Paying attention to all the chaos that's going on both here and abroad. Special attention being focused abroad, that is, because, hey, that's prophecy. Over there in Western Asia, the so-called Middle East, hey, things are coming to a head as it was prophesied in Revelation chapter 16. These things are going on. All right. So what we have here, again, this is Professor Black Truth. And the title here is No Thanksgiving 2024 Address for you people that, and I'm talking about you Jakes, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that still choose, whether willingly or out of ignorance, to still worship these so-called holidays, all right, and not knowing the history, the reasons why you're doing these things. You just do it because you want to go along to get along, which that type of well, that philosophy period will get you in trouble, as it will in this case. Not only are you celebrating the wickedness done to Salakia. Okay, I'm back. The wickedness done to your own people. And some of you have this attitude, well, that happened a long time ago, it didn't have nothing to do. Well, it does. All right, even for those of you that have yet to realize that the so-called Native Americans, which are the Northern Kingdom of Israel, are not your people. It's funny how you still fail to, despite what happened to you, you choose to join hand in hand with this piece of shit that's ruling over you and celebrating the slaughter of other people. But then again, that's how very white Christian of you when you think about it. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. How many scriptures warn you about that? Let's get a couple. Does it not say, envy not thine oppressor? Yeah, and a lot of you, this is the very reason. Let's see. Nope. The very reason you do these things, it says, envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Oh, but what am I thinking? You probably never even heard these scriptures that I'm about to come on. And it says down here, the oppressor, a man of violence. Remember when I said a few moments ago about you can take in consideration how he did you and your people? I'm talking about you Southern Kingdom Jakes, you so-called Negroes. Have you forgotten? See, this is what I'm talking about. You envy your oppressor so much. A lot of you have a bad case. Some will say Stockholm. I call it a colonial mindset, because it tends to go deeper. We're talking about generation after generation of generation. Stockholm doesn't necessarily have to take that long, nor or last that long. All right, but in fact, well, instead of me flapping my let's get it, because a lot of you probably never heard this term before. Mindset is the same thing. There we go. Colonial mindset. It Simply put, a colonial mentality is an internalized ethnic, linguistic, or cultural inferiority complex imposed on peoples as a result of colonization. And it goes deeper because, remember what I said, it gets into gaslighting, and that's a term that's been thrown around a lot lately, but it's true. Being invaded and conquered by another nation state and then being gaslit, often through the educational system, into linguistic imperialism and cultural assimilation. Through an instilled belief that the language and culture of the colonizer are superior to their own heritage, languages, and cultures. And you'll hear Gad, despite all the shit that has been done to him, again, what it boils down to, he just lost the will to fight. And that's both Northern and Southern Kingdom. And it's sad to see. You become content with getting your asses kicked day in and day out. There's different ways to fight, first and foremost. All right. Such a mentality may also be developed among the descendants of families who choose voluntary immigration to another nation state only to be similarly gaslit, bullied, and shamed for their bilingualism. Isn't that going on with your so-called Latin tribes now? Loyalty to any elements of their ancestral culture and ability to speak immigrant languages. Remember Gad in the boarding houses or schools, excuse me. See hyphenated Americans. Let's look at that. Whoops. I actually went there by mistake first, but let's go. In the United States, the term hyphenated Americans refers to the use of a hyphen in some styles of writings between the name of an ethnicity and the word American and compound nouns, as in Irish American. Calling a person God dang it, a hyphenated American was used as an insult, alleging divided political or national loyalties, especially in times of war. They just took away, what's her name, the Somali congresswoman. I forget her name right off the bat, but she made the comment, she's here for Somali Americans. What the fuck are you doing? I mean, a lot of comments, I think I got that saved somewhere, are like, well, what are you even doing in Congress? And that should be a wake-up call to you you Jakes that you choose, you're from either the Caribbean or elsewhere here in the Western Hemisphere. And you're like, well, I'm from, well, you're, but don't worry, this man is letting you know, all right, where you stand in his eyes. All right, let's go let's go a chapter back. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go to Jeremiah. Wait a minute. That's not the one. Let's see. Hold on. This is Jeremiah 2:33. It says, why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? From this piece of shit? No, that ain't happening. And, it's funny to me now, and I'm sure to others, that a lot of you are seeing what we've been trying to tell you all along. And this has been, I've seen so many videos about, Jake that's been here in America tried to tell you stupid motherfuckers that come here, you immigrants, that look like us, or, hey, don't believe the lies. Sooner or later, they're going to turn on you. And sure enough, what did you call us? You lazy, whatever, fill in the blank. And now look. So a lot of our people are like, hands off. And you saw that with this Palestinian shit, because they're like, well, the so-called blacks, they're not with us anymore, and our movement is. But all this comes into play about this video I'm about, because he's gonna go in on you know what's there to celebrate today.
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth. Oh yes, it's that time of year again. The holiday tradition continues. Now I know a lot of you are at home today, no doubt planning to spend time with the family, stuffing yourselves with genetically modified farm animals. Now I'm not about to tell you that you should mind a day off work, but I am saying someone ought to remind you that we can't have black empowerment if their holidays mean more to you than your own. And you do have holidays, or rather holy days. And this ain't one of them. And if you just so happen to be one of the folks getting jolly in the behind about this, that's what a subject people do when they've been oppressed and they don't actually have autonomy over their own lives. They don't have the ability to choose for themselves what to celebrate. They just got to go along with whatever the dominant society says. Now, I know that a lot of you are giving thanks today regardless, so in keeping with the spirit of the occasion, I'd like to tell you who else is extremely grateful today. The dominant society. So while you're busy getting the turkey and dressing and all the trimmings ready, allow me to start your morning with the dominant society's Thanksgiving prayer. It's one that they've been saying for hundreds of years now. Dear Lord, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for this good white land that you have given to us, or rather gave us the ability to take it from all of those dark-skinned black Indians who are running around. Thank you for giving us the ability to have them.
For those of you that are still worshiping that so-called white Jesus, this is actually what you're worshiping. This is what they're saying under their God. This islet they've given you. And a lot of you are so gone that you can't even see that. Even when people are trying to tell you, hey, and trying to throw you lifelines, that lifeline being, hey, this is who you really are. All right. You're an Israelite. The Most High's name is Yahweh. His son's name is Yahweh Shai. And they look like you. But you still, you refuse because, well, there's several reasons. But one, people that look like you are telling you this, again, because you're under subjection. So again, that colonial mentality comes into play. I hadn't finished with that. I'll go back to it. But you've been so mentally fucked that a lot of you, the only cure is death. And while we're out there on the highways and byways, all we do, we give you these scriptures as we were instructed to do. All right, we're hoping that at some point that something clicks, but that's not up to us. Our job is to come out there and tell our people. In fact, instead of me telling you, this is Isaiah 58:1. It says, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. Didn't say anything about being nice about it. Spare not. Let's go Isaiah 56. His watchmen are blind. They are all dumb, ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. These are your pastors in the churches. That's who this scripture here is referencing. That ain't us. Here we are here. This is Ezekiel 3. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. Not to many people of a strong speech and of an hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely, had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. And we see people who are our enemies. They'll listen before Jake. That's how we know who's who. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads. As an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. And Jake is verse 2, yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness and forsook not the ordinance of their power. They ask of me the ordinance of justice. They take delight in approaching to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right, so let's go back.
Build the society for us, the greatest that man has ever seen, and for making sure that we could live in houses that we didn't build, in a country that we didn't found or make prosperous. And while we were busy suffering in Europe with all manner of social and economic malaise and dysfunction, not to mention various famines, you made it where we had the ability to escape all that and come over here to this great...
That's what they're praying to their white Jesus for. And you dumb Jakes, ignorant, and
land that these Negroes were forced to build for us, and to do so for free. We want to thank you, good Lord, for everything, but most of all, we give thanks for the fact that these people we enslaved, then brutalized for hundreds of years, haven't raised up and crushed this perverted system that we put in place yet. Any other group of people who had to endure even a tenth of what these people have, there would have been full-fledged insurgencies in the streets. So thank you, Lord, for not letting these people actually...
Him having said that, I hope who listen to this that haven't woken up yet, consider that. What would the other nations look like? What? How are they still not recognizing that this is the Most High behind this? All right. Like I said, there's many ways to fight. They come over here after hearing all the disparaging remarks, and seeing us betrayed in the media in whatever form it's shown. And this is, of course, our oppressor doing these things, showing us in a bad light. And in a lot of cases, it doesn't have to work too hard at that, because let's face it, Jacob wicked. Jeremiah 5:26, among my people I found wicked men. It doesn't take much, but we are not the wicked. And that's what a lot of people, constantly paraded to make it look like we are. But a lot of people have caught on to the shenanigans of the so-called white man. And especially with the help of Amalek over there in the land of Israel now. All right, with all that bullshit. And they're seeing just who they're dealing with, and it doesn't fit the description of the chosen people. These murderous bastards. So the house of cards that are all these lies are falling apart. And that's that 2 Corinthians 10 and verse 4 and 5. And that's what we're out there, of course, helping it. Pulling down all these lies and that have been strongholds for this devil. All right, well, it's time to be exposed and pulled down out of power. And they know, the elites know this. And a few others, not quite on that level, they have figured it out. Even your Bible Belt, Edomites that might not be Edomites, they see what's going on. They understand that certain prophecies are coming to pass, Salakia. All right? And a lot of you Southern Kingdom Jakes and Northern Kingdom, but a lot of you that profess to know the Lord, you just blind as Mr. Magoo,
do anything that would upset the apple cart. Dear Lord, we, the dominant society, are so grateful that we've been allowed to get away with murder, and to do so for hundreds of years. Surely this is the sign that you are blessing our unearned, undeserved wealth and luxury and comfort that we enjoy. Yeah. We thank you for having allowed us to run roughshod over the decent, moral people of the world and to institute a system of injustice more brutal, more perverse, more degenerate, more satanic than anything that's ever come before it.
There you go.
You see, family.
Now, what haven't we, that he just said, have we not been telling you this? Could he be listening? But again, as I said in another video, a lot of you have a problem. Because it's people that look like you. And of course, you've been taught, you know, it goes into that colonial mindset again. Let's go back to that real quick. Let me try to finish it out. Let's go back to this because I skipped over something that, you know, we got the cultural assimilation, the hyphenated Americans. It says the term has been used by post-colonial scholars to discuss the transgeneration. This is the point I want to harp on because this separates this from Stockholm. It says transgenerational trauma is the psychological and physiological effects that the trauma experienced by people has on subsequent generations in that group. The primary mode of transmission is the shared family environment of the infant, causing psychological, behavioral, and social changes in the individual. We know that ultimately it's Yahweh Shem Shai. All right, and these curses that were put on us, but we'll use their signs, no problem. Collective trauma is when psychological trauma experienced by communities and identity groups is carried on as part of the group's collective memory and shared sense of identity. I'm not going to even go because they want to throw this other shit in there. And that's a psychological trick in of itself, because Jake will see that and they'll discount what's going on with them and they'll start feeling sympathy for those pieces of shit, all right, not realizing that they are responsible, you know, for the slave trade and all that to get us out of the way and assumed our identity. But, you know, that's too much for them to handle. Apparently. Continuing on.
That's the prayer that the dominant society likes to pray on Thanksgiving Day. And they've been doing so for hundreds of years. And they also like to celebrate their open racism. Whenever you hear them talking about the proverbial racist uncle who says racist stuff about black people at Thanksgiving dinner, what do you think they're doing? They're bragging to you that while you're busy sitting here going, oh, this is a day for truth and love and brotherhood among all men, they're sitting here talking about black folks like a dog for no reason. They got black people on the brain. We're living rent-free inside their heads, and that makes sense. There's certainly plenty of room. But I want you to understand that in a society that you don't control, it is totally understandable that when the rulers of that unjust society set aside a day in which most people are off work or otherwise given free time, naturally folks are going to want to take advantage of it because they get precious few days that are actually their own to begin with. And that's the purest proof that you are not in control of your life, that you live under oppression, that you live under domination. Something as simple as having a day off, that basically becomes something you can only do when you're given permission for it. And if the ability to be able to do what you want with your own time, with your own life, is not an exclusive decision that only you can make, if it's somebody else who has the ability to have veto power over that, then what that means is your life is not truly your own. Because the kind of waiting for permission from the dominant society that you have to do just to get a day off, this also extends to and pervades every other aspect of your life as well. Mm-hmm. Everything from employment, everything to trying to set up any sort of businesses, everything to simply trying to have any sort of free time.
And that's where that gaslighting comes in, because the first thing out of an Edomite's mouth, oh, you know, you don't really have it too bad like it used to be back in the day. All you have to do is try a little harder. You have no control here of any, or very little, I should say. All right, definitely. Who's going to hire and who's going to fire with all the shit you find out they do behind the scenes. Something as simple as a name. They can identify you. Ugh. On the phone. That sounds like, nope, scratch that. All right, so you're limited as to your control, very limited.
Time to enjoy with your friends and family. It all comes from the place of we got to make sure that the dominant society doesn't come along deciding that they're going to either try to stop us or to try to otherwise punish or prohibit us. Now, for me, this only goes to underscore what is totally wrong with this state of affairs. When someone else controls when you get to spend your time with your family, that's more power than anyone is supposed to have over your life, especially considering the fact that it was your uncompensated labor and your continued economic deprivation that funds and fuels their own comfort and their own idle lifestyles. And then they try to feed you the pablum that, well, when it comes to Thanksgiving, you can be thankful for whatever it is in particular that you're thankful for. But that's the entire problem now, isn't it? Because of the fact that we do not have control over the economics or the politics of the areas in which we live. Hell, we don't even have control over the economics and the politics of our own lives. Any sort of gratitude that we show would basically be just that, only for show. It wouldn't be genuine. We wouldn't be doing it because this is what we actually believe and this is what we actually think is reality. We'd be doing it because, well, this is what we got to do, or we have to face up to the fact that we are indeed a people under siege and the situation is just as bad as we think it is. And truth be told, it's hard to be very thankful under those conditions. Nothing happens in a vacuum under white supremacy, family, and that goes double for the so-called celebrations. Our grandmaster teachers talked about this very problem. Dr. Joseph Ben Yakinen said, when it comes to holidays, don't ask for a day, you take a day. Now, of course, if you're sitting here taking a day, that means that you're doing it for yourself, for your own observations, that you're setting up celebrations that honor you. To observe our own holy days requires not just ideological awareness of which events and persons we should stop and remember, it also requires resources for a people who are under oppression. The dominant society lets you have a day off largely because they're the ones putting it on their tab, and they do it for everyone. It's sanctioned. And it can only be for something that actually edifies and honors and glorifies them, which means it has to honor and glorify your oppression.
There you go. Remember the statement I made earlier on in the video about you're celebrating these holidays, not realizing that you're celebrating the slaughter of your own people? Wow. Let's get some more scripture. This is Jeremiah, since we're in 10. Got to go to 2. It says, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. What does vain mean, right? Strong's H, 1892. Emptiness. All right. Transitory. Unsatisfactory. It's not going to profit you or me. This is somebody else's. He said that prayer. It says, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, which is something that's coming up since this is the end, Thanksgiving is basically over. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. What is it talking about? So-called Christmas. That's the next major holiday coming up for the heathen. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born. And this born here means to be carried. That's Strong's H, let's see, 5375. Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong one. It's the next one. Hold on. Hold on here. Here it is. To carry away. All right. Let's see. To take away up. Yeah, can't do it itself. All right, because it's not alive. It says, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. All right, for as much as there is none like unto thee, O Most High Yahweh, thou art great, and thy name is great in might. All right, this is who you should be worshiping, the Most High Yahweh and the Son Yahweh Shah, not this idol that they gave to you in the stead. All right, because you got to remember Jeremiah 17:4, and they were partly responsible for that because they, at the end of the day, are tools, as it tells you in Psalm 17 and then 13. It's back, King David. He is the sword. These people, these Edomites, these so-called white people, they are a tool that the Most High is using to, ultimately weed us out. All right, because this is the whole process is a weeding out process. Zechariah 13:8. You got read the separation of the 1/3 from the 2/3. 2/3 got to go. So let's see. Where was I going to go? Let's go back to the video. It might come to me. All right.
That's the pink elephant, or should I say white elephant, that's dancing in the room while you're busy sitting here going, oh, I'm so grateful for them pilgrims. Those pilgrims were the ones who kicked off the slave trade in the Americas, not to mention brought a hell of a lot of that anti-black rhetoric with them. Just for the record, if somebody's giving you a day, they're doing it because they feel that it suits their interest. Now, on the other hand, if you decide that you're going to take a day, then that will force you to have to make sure you can literally afford it. No paid holidays when you're turning your back on the dominant society schedule. They're not going to finance your independence.
Nope.
Instead, exercising self-determination and choosing what days you'll celebrate and observe and which ones you won't, that is the hallmark of a people who know exactly who they are. They've got their own traditions, they've got their own rules, and as far as they're concerned, they're not trying to take on the trappings of the very dominant society that has been abusing them every day for half a millennium. Just understand that. When it comes to these holidays, the way things are done now isn't done to do you any favors. It's done as a way of punishing you if you defy them.
Yeah.
And if you don't observe the days they tell you are right for you to celebrate. That's what it's actually about. With the gargantuan wealth that you and I made possible over the course of hundreds of years, of course they can sit here and have the luxury of saying, well, here's a day off, but only if it suits our purposes. Oh yes, the dominant society has a lot to be thankful for, because they took it all from us. This is why they're all so easily able to form a united front so quickly when they see us asserting ourselves. And I'm not just talking about the white supremacists, I'm also talking about a lot of these other groups who are not classified as white, but who very quickly made common cause with white supremacy. They were only too jolly in the behind to do that. If we as black people do anything in this country other than scratch and shuffle, they go on full alert. You see, they know exactly how precarious their position really is. What they don't know is if we realize this too. They simply can't celebrate if they think that black folks are not down and out. That's why whenever you see the dominant society pretending to be unhappy about crime and pretending to be complaining about, oh, all these crimes, look what some Negro did on the news, they only limit their phony outrage to the proverbial south side of Chicago. But the reality is, if it's black people that they're whining about, they're not really upset at all. In fact, they're reveling in it. Every time they turn on the crime blotter leading the nightly news, that's them celebrating. Why? They're thankful because it's confirmation that the racist economic imbalance and social order that they put in place is still standing and still producing the kinds of dysfunction in the black community that they rely on to keep us distracted and fragmented. Whenever some white supremacist is caught spouting some anti-black gibberish, such as things like, they thank God that they're not black, well, the feeling's mutual. Black people certainly are glad these white supremacists aren't black either. But whenever they do that, they're actually saying they thank God that black people haven't punished them for their oppression of us. Because that's what's actually going on inside those empty melons on their shoulders.
Don't you worry. Oh, no. All right. See, that's where he's in great error, because that's in his mind. That's not what's going on. This is Ecclesiastes 8:11. It says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Remember, this is what they're thinking. The Most High must have been, God must be with us. Yeah, because, no. Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Though a sinner do evil 100 times and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Most High, which fear before him. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And this is the actual thing here, because to consider, and they do not. All right. And this is Hebrews 12:6. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. So who's being chastened and thereby scourged? Let's go into that Strong's G3811. To train up a child, that is, educate, or by implication, discipline by punishment, to instruct, to teach. How are you going to know you ever did something wrong unless... But they don't see it that way. They're not looking at, the big picture. 7, if ye endure chastening, the Most High deals with you as with sons. That's part of the curses that were put on us, right? For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement or punishment, wherefore are all partakers? Then are ye bastards and not sons. And that goes all the way back to Genesis 4th chapter. You have two lineages here. You have who were supposed to be or represent the righteous, and you have that lineage of wickedness, of evil. All right, and it tells you in chapter 4, verse 14, all right, who fell out of favor. All right, and it was Cain's descendants. Cain and then his descendants came out, who came back post-flood as the descendants of Esau, Jacob's brother, the nation of Edom. That's Genesis 36 chapter, but you need to read 25 to get the beginning of that. All right, that whole lineage there fell out of favor. So what are they talking about? This is why they're being left alone to fulfill the prophecies. All right. Again, but if ye be without chastisement, man, everything's just going so well with us. We can do whatever we want. We can go whatever we want. That's part of the blessing that was given. Let's go to Genesis 27. And a lot of them, they know this. They just don't want you to know it. This is, and I encourage you to read the whole chapter, actually starting from Genesis 25, on up until this point. All right. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Because Jacob, some will say, no, he didn't steal anything. In 25, the birthright was sold to Jacob. All right. And then in this, you got to understand, if this wasn't meant to be, then it would have been undone. It's just as simple as that. All right. It says, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. Let's get that word for fatness. Actually, let me finish. Fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. Now let's get that fatness. Fatness. Strong's H4480. Mon. All right. Let's see. Hence from out of and many. We gotta get the second one. Salaki. Strong's H4924. Mashaman. Fat, that is literal and abstractly. Fatness, but usually figuratively and concretely. A rich dish, a fertile field, a robust man. All right, meaning the best of everything. And how would he get it? And by thy sword shalt thou live. Who is this describing? And shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Now, let's get a definition of something, because he is our mortal enemy, right? What is a mortal enemy? All right. What is a mortal enemy? I want the Urban Dictionary, meaning because it goes right to the point. Let's see. Come on. Let's see. I mean, tell me you don't have. God, dang. Why isn't that strange? First time I've noticed this, although it's been a while since I looked this up. Usually the Urban Dictionary is one. Wow. Oh, let's see. Let's try the free dictionary. Mortal enemy, an enemy who wants to kill you, straight to the point. All right. A personal enemy. That's who we're dealing with. Who better than to be than the one who shared the womb with you, right? Again, you need to read Genesis 25th chapter. Mortal enemy, Collins. Ooh, slacking. All right. If someone is your enemy, they hate you or want to harm you. All right, mortal. If you refer to the fact that people are mortal, you mean that they have to die. I wanted to both. But I think you get it. Yeah, fair enough. Enemy that wants to kill you. Okay. I was so used to the other one, I didn't think that. All right, that's fine. Let's go back to the video.
Their shoulders. Gratitude that black folks have not produced justice and punished these white supremacists. And white liberals, by the way, draw from the same well as the white conservatives, and they do it for the same reasons. Class, not race, is the dividing line among the dominant society. It's the dividing line among white society. And that being the case, white liberals, whenever you see them complaining about this or that from the white right, what they're actually unhappy about is their particular place in the scheme. That's basically what a lot of them are doing. They're not really unhappy about the anti-black racism. They're certainly not unhappy about the American racial...
And that's the thing, too, that Jake does not understand. A lot of this is white on white, or Edom against Edom, or what we used to say when I was coming up in the older heads, you know, that they would say that's white folks' business. We need to stay out of it. And unfortunately, a lot of Jakes mistakenly think that they're actually to a point where, you know, they believed in all this equality bullshit. No. Jake even gets to that level where they still don't realize that they're still a pawn. All right. We have no power, as he was describing just a few moments ago. We have no actual power in this. He'll use whoever he wants to use, and once he's done, chew them up and spit them out. It happens all the time with these entertainers. It's usually easier to see. This is not our rest, like we always try to tell you.
Social order. But they do get unhappy when they see somebody else holding the whip, and as far as they're concerned, they're supposed to be having better guarantees than that. But make no mistake, these people are fully on board with the system of anti-black racism. They have to be, because even your good white liberals have no illusions about the fact that they depend on white power and white privilege.
Revelation, again, Jake caught up in what? So-called white folks' business. This is Revelation 13. Get straight to the point. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. It does not matter if you're a Republican or Democrat. All right, this whole system is just wicked, and it's against us. Always has been, always will be. Jake just refuses all right, to face reality. And that reality is we were brought over here to make these mother effers rich. And this is punishment from on high. These are the curses that we put them on. And it's not going to end until these curses are taken off of us by who put them on us. No amount of education, no matter how many degrees you have, it's going to get you out of this. No matter how much money you have, because ultimately, who makes the money? Your oppressor, you idiots. And at his word, all that shit can disappear. You are still in captivity. This is Baruch 3 and 8. It says, Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us, for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments. What is he talking about? Taxes. According to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Most High Yahweh our Father. Such thing as, I don't know, it was like a covenant, and we broke it. And just like any contract, which that is also another name for it, breach of contract usually results in what? Ta-da! Back to the video.
Privilege for every crumb of their daily bread. And you better believe they're thankful for that. I mean, what the heck would we look like celebrating all sorts of stuff that basically is commemorating and making merry about the very system that holds us in chains? Because that's basically what's going on here. We don't have that much to be thankful for in this society, not in the festive holiday sense anyway. But we can be thankful that more black people are finally waking up. Black people, particularly the young, have started to take up a zero-tolerance policy for all of these lies and liars that we've been saddled with and afflicted by for so long. And this shift goes way beyond the 2024 election.
Again, this is why we're out here. This is 2 Corinthians. Hold on. 10 and 4. This is what we're doing. For the weapons, remember I told you there's different ways to fight. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua to the pulling down of strongholds. What's those strongholds? 5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, as in America, Babylon the Great. Look what all the crap that's going over here. They got people that are so confused now that they don't know if they're a man or a woman, or they want to be something other than what they are, and bringeth into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach Yahushua. Let's go into that imaginations. Strong's G 3053, logismos, or logismos, computation that is, figuratively, reasoning. What? So people's reasoning, their very reasoning has been what? Casting down reasonings and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Wow. Wow. So to explain it better, let's go back to Isaiah. Let's go to 29. It says, surely you're turning of things upside down. Men want to be women, women want to be men. Shall be esteemed as the potter's clay, for shall the work say of him that made it? He's always messing with what's in order, what's already perfect. And the he I'm talking about is this so-called white man, this Edomite. That's what he was created to be, the wicked. Why is it so hard for you people to understand that? For For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? This man took what was ours, and I'm talking about the scriptures, turned it to a weapon and used it against us. And then assumed our identity. And now he's mad that we're waking up. So these things are being righted. And this is what is pissing him off, because he senses the end of his kingdom. All right? It's a beautiful thing to be alive in this time, to see the person or people that are responsible for this. All right. Scared shitless.
It also extends to the fact that black people are starting to internalize the message that A, we need to delineate ourselves, and B, we need to make sure that we move in our own interest. What that means is our political issue is the money that we are owed across the board. We need to continue to take a hard-nosed approach to the resources that we are owed and the resources that we require. And if somebody comes smiling up in our face, sitting here talking some gibberish about, oh, I feel your pain, feel my pain, nothing. My pain must be answered and relieved. I don't need sympathy. What I need is pain relief. And that pain relief is spelled dollars. That's how it's spelled. So when they show up, they understand these are not black folks who are looking to be hugging up on anybody. We're not trying to hold hands with anyone, and you better not bring us any vibes. So while you're busy getting ready to spend time with the family, and that's fine, that's not an issue in and of itself, just keep in mind, our job is not done. In fact, it hasn't even begun until we have finally made it a point that we are going to have the power that we're supposed to have. Everything that moves in the society ought to be moving for our power and edification. Every symbol, every sign, all of these images are supposed to be honoring us. We've never had that for a single day in this land, and that's the goal that we must be moving towards. Anything else is simply a distraction that we can't afford. For the younger black folks, they have started to make their presence felt. They have started to have an impact. And that being the case, if the needle starts moving, that is an inherently good thing. And that's something worthy of celebrating. That's certainly something that I spend more than a little time contemplating.
And this is the thing. Something else we continually tell you. How do you do this? How do you keep these bastards worried? All right. And we can tell because the moves that they're making. This is Sirach 30 and 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. Teach him what? This is Job 8 and 8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. This is what we're telling you. All right? All this history. All right? This is what we're trying to impart on our people. But our people, they long for this world way too much. They can't see anything past America. This is that part about being, all right, because this is like that gauntlet, you know. As the scripture said, you have fire on one side, water on the other. It's a narrow, very narrow path. Unlike what you've been taught or conditioned to believing in, that Christianity has taught you that everyone's your brother, and all you have to do, whatever you do, all you have to do is call on the name of JC and everything's going to be all right. That's bullshit. All right, and that's ultimately going to be Oh, especially the so-called black woman. Oh, I wish I could remember where they had this picture where they've got, JC with his arms out, like as in an embrace, and they have the so-called black woman just falling back into it, like he's just, whew. I'll find it one of these days. But in the meantime, let's finish this out.
That's the kind of thing that's worth reflecting on. That's the kind of thing that definitely you should get the family together and celebrate. One feels as if we're finally starting to make some serious ideological steps towards crushing white supremacy, towards destroying this perverted social order of anti-black racism. Now, this is not to say that we are at our destination. We're not. Far from it. But what it does mean is that at long last, it seems like we're finally starting to move in the right direction for a change. And that is something to give thanks for. Good day, and be one.
So there you have it as far as the video goes, but that's because these elites, they understand enough to know that these prophecies are coming to pass, all right, and things are speeding up, all right, but the thing that's forcing them to is not obvious to a lot of people, and that, the prophecy, and that is, let's go get it. This is Revelation 11th chapter. Let's go down to 8. It says, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of that great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt," because everything that happens here is reminiscent of what happened back in Sodom and Egypt. In fact, it's worse here, all right, where also our Lord was crucified. He was X'd out. It's, he don't really exist. We got this blasphemous image that's been pushed around the world for the last, as he put it, half a millennium, actually a little bit more. 9, "And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth." All right, and that's talking about the northern and southern kingdoms of Israel. "And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet." And that's what's happening now. This is what's scaring the shit out of them. "And great fear fell upon them which saw them." And they see us out there on the highways and byways, and we're keeping it spiritual, not falling into what they want us to do, and that's be carnal. All right. So, as I said, this is a great time to be alive, and I'm going to end it with this. This is Sirach 25, verse 7. It says, "There be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children," which you can't really have here, "and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy." And the reason you can't have joy of his children, you have to be very, at least if you're a righteous or want to be a righteous parent, you've got all these laws that are set up, these unrighteous decrees that are set up against you, giving actually your children more power over you than the other way around was supposed to be. This is just wicked. And then you have a lot of Jake currently being unalived, and yet we have no hate crime bill. Go figure. We need to get the hell up out of here. And that's, again, it says, "He that liveth to see the fall of his enemy." And that's what's happening now. All right. So with that, hopefully whoever views this is edified, as always. And once again, this is the Professor Black Truth channel. No Thanksgiving 2024 address. All right. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.